Wednesday night, the Grizzlies took on the Charlotte Hornets, who came in riding a 3-game win streak, but let's put to bed any notion of a 4th win in a row. Ja Morant swats away the lob attempt, and on the break, finds the Rook 3-ball corner pocket. Jalen Wells for 3. Jumping to the second quarter, Grizzlies get real hot real fast. 12 straight points, including 9 from Jaren Jackson Jr. to go up 46-25. I don't know what was going on with Luke Kennard, but he flipped the switch to flamethrower. 6 first-half threes. He finished with a season-high 23 points. Grizz up 30 at the half. And in the second half, we get a rare dunk from Kennard, doing it on both ends. His first dunk since 2019-2020, looking like he's back at Franklin High School. The second half, a little bit of a sleeper, though, for the Grizz. Charlotte never quite get back into the game, but they do cut it from 30 points to 12 thanks to 38 points from Mark Williams and 22 from LaMelo Ball. The Bane train, 24 points and 8 assists. Ja Morant notches his 9th double-double of the season with 16 points and 13 assists. Grizz win it 132-120, but not necessarily happy with that second half.
A lot, and bothered the group a lot too. Luckily, we did enough in the first half, and we were able to survive. The second half, just too many free throws, too many lackadaisical play, offense, defense, turnovers. We were definitely a tale of two halves. The team in the first half is reflective of who we want to be. Second half, not so much.
Yeah, we're trying to be a great team. And Ja was saying that here in the locker room, we need a full 48 minutes. In the past, we'd, be smiling walking out of here, but I think everybody's got a serious mindset and a professional mindset, and know that we're better than that, and we're going to have to be on Friday to get a win.
Certainly easier to say, harder to do. I think when you get up 30 points, it is pretty natural for you to relax just a hair. But for this Grizzlies team that wants to be in that upper echelon and the real contenders in the West and really ultimately for an NBA championship, these are games that you allow a team like Charlotte to hang around. All of a sudden, you're looking at a lost lead, and we know that no lead is safe in the NBA. Luckily, last night's lead was safe for the Memphis Grizzlies. Caleb, I'll come to you first on this one. What did you think about what the Grizzlies were able to do in this one?
Well, I think they showed a lot of maturity. You blow a 30-point lead back down to 12. Now, Charlotte does have some ballers on the team that can bite you.
LaMelo Ball, no pun intended?
Yeah, LaMelo Ball, no pun intended. For them to be upset in the locker room a little bit after the game, I think is a really good sign. That's what championship teams do. They're never satisfied. It's not a good thing. Like if they were up by 20, this would be a different story tonight. But Jaren gets them on that nice run and looked really efficient under the basket last night. But I think that is a really good sign that they are upset, and that can translate to something different because these guys like Desmond Bane, Jaren Jackson Jr., and Ja Morant are on the verge of veterans, if not veterans already in the NBA. And a couple years ago, they would be, laughing it up in the locker room, have a college basketball game on the big projector, and just, we got to win. We beat one of the stars in the NBA, But now they realize that it's more than that they need to thump teams like this.
Yeah, it can be symptomatic of other things that can kind of creep up on you later on in the season. I think when I was in the locker room last night and you are talking to the guys, it's not that they were glum, it's not that they were mad, but they were certainly businesslike. It certainly did not sit right with them that they allowed the game to kind of even get close to. Charlotte was never in the game. They were never in the game, but as a fan and as people who are watching that game, you feel almost uneasy because you have such the high of that first half, which first half was incredible. And then you kind of get in that second half, you're waiting for something similar to occur, and you just kind of feel uneasy because you look up like, oh, okay, it's 20 points. Oh, okay, it's 16 points. Okay, it's 12, and now I'm feeling like, are they going to let them back in the game? But you watching the clock, and the clock's ticking away. It's like, okay, they're not. It was weird. It was a weird feeling, Rachel.
I think the somewhat of frustration, if that's the word you want to call it, of the guys in the locker room, it comes from they look at what they did in that first half and they know if they're able to continue that for the entire game, that's the kind of team that can go on and win this whole thing. And so for them, it's like, this is what we can produce. Why can't we do it the whole way? I mean, that first half, you're watching Luke Kennard hit off 6 threes, and you're like, oh my God, is this man going to go break his own record for threes in a game, which is 10, obviously. That's the record in Grizzlies franchise history, 10 threes. He had 6 in the first half, got a 7th. But you're thinking, man, this man's on fire. He's going to keep getting it and keep shooting it from every corner of the square on the court. if I know what a court is called. Or
Rectangle? Yeah,
thank
there you
you.
go. Parallelogram.
Yes, but then it just kind of trickles off. But I still think it's a good, they had fourth time they've ever scored 78 points in a half in Grizzlies history. You can't just sit here and knock that. Yes, they didn't go on with the job, but they still won it. I never thought for a second in that entire game they were going to lose it.
Right.
They always felt confident. They always felt confident in my mind that they were going to go on to win. Sure, would they have liked to continue that 30-point lead and maybe even extend it? Of course, but not everything can be perfect, and that's okay. This is what we like out of this game. This is what we don't like. How do we move on to the next game? I think for me, just looking at that game and really just looking at these last few stretches of the game, the guy that stands out to me is Desmond Bane. So often we're talking about Ja Morant, Jaren Jackson Jr., and of course we should be the three of them combining on Monday to really help get that win and secure it. But I just feel Des has been so consistent these last little bit. You look at the month of January, he's averaging 21.7 points per game, 6.4 assists, shooting 56.9% from the floor. He's been just that consistent guy. And Monday, if he wasn't there, they probably wouldn't have won that game. He was the one who put the game winner up in the end.
Right. Put them ahead.
Yeah, put them ahead. But he is always there every step of the way. And it reminds me, because you go back to November and everyone's kind of questioning Des. He's not really putting up that many points. He doesn't feel like he's having an impact on the game. You're like, is it really the big three? Is it, or maybe it's just Ja and Jaren and Des is kind of a level below. But because November, he's averaging 10.6 points per game, 4.4 assists, shooting 34% from the floor. He's just completely stepped it up to be averaging 10 more points a game than what he was in November. That's only 2 months?
Right. Well, you got to remember, I think he was coming off of that. I think it was the oblique strain in November, and so he was kind of getting back into the swing of things, and you could noticeably tell, okay, something is not quite right. He's trying to find his step, kind of trying to find his rhythm again, and ultimately, what we've seen these last couple of months, and in January especially, he has been the old Desmond Bane. We've talked about Des being an all-star level player, and we're almost waiting for him to get that all-star nod. And what we've seen in January is he has been fantastic. You talk about just the points per game in January. That's actually his 6th straight game of 20 points or more. And so what we're seeing from him is, yes, he can still be a consistent scorer for this team, but what we're also seeing is he's doing so many of the other things. He's putting up 25 and 5 or 25 and 6. I mean, you just pulled out the stats, and so you can see he's a stat sheet stuffer. He's able to do so many things, and I think what we've seen is a lot of times if it's not Ja Morant who's leading the team in assists on a particular night, a lot of times it's Des, because he's become that secondary ball handler for the team. He's been playing absolutely lights out, and he's the best 3-point shooter on the team. We think it can be kind of a 1 and 2, but Luke Kennard had that night last night. My boy was shooting that thing.
I feel like every Grizzlies fan right now is saying,
how dare you say that? Yeah, how dare you say that?
Jay was a better 3-point shooter than
Hey, man, we talked about Jalen Wells being the best 3-point shooter last night. Desmond Bane was like, hold down now, Rook. You know what I'm saying? But to the point, Luke Kennard, 23 of the Grizzlies, 50 points off the bench last night. 44.1% is second all time in the entirety of the NBA, the history of the NBA. Only behind our guy Steve Kerr, who coaches over there with the Golden State Warriors. That's Caleb's team, by the way. But we got a chance to talk to Luke last night about just the night that he was having and how hot he was.
It felt good, and guys were saying, "Hey, we're looking for you." I'm like, okay, but no, it definitely felt good. And when a shooter, when it feels like that, it's definitely a good feeling, and you're always trying to hunt more shots. So, good first half for sure.
Such a humble guy. He was so you could tell he wanted to be all giddy and I just had a really great game. But he's like, yeah,
Yeah, we rarely see that Luke. He's always a happy guy, but it's usually he's got the ball cap on, his jacket's on, he's ready to go. But yeah,
I don't even think it was the hot shooting night. I think it was the dunk that really put him in the giddy mood,
he was
right?
pumped to do that.
They said this is the first time he's dunked since 2019, 2020. And so he's talking about it. He's like, I was feeling good. It is what it is. They actually said, you waiting on that invitation for the dunk contest? And he's like, yeah, I'm waiting on the invitation. Whether I take it or not is a different thing. Ja's like, yeah, I mean, I've never seen him dunk before. So he's like, it's exactly what I would have done, on a fast break. But they asked Ja, they said, do you want to see Luke in the dunk contest? And Ja says, the dunk contest. Like, I need to see him in the three-point contest.
Yeah.
He says, stick to your strengths. And I think this is exactly the kind of hot shooting that you were expecting when they brought Luke in last year, right? He's such a great three-point shooter, and that makes you, for some people, and probably for that front office, makes you hesitant because we've been talking about, well, maybe we should use Luke in trade scenarios, right? We should be able to use his salary to match and get somebody else in here who can put them over the top. But when he's shooting like that, you're looking at it like,
How do you
do we
trade
really
that away?
really want to trade this guy? I mean, the night he had last night was incredible. It felt like he couldn't miss, and of course he only misses I think 3 or 4 shots. And so when he's shooting like that, absolutely he can be that guy. And the Grizzlies have so many guys on the team who can do that. You had Jay Huff because you 13 points in I think 6 minutes.
Both are top 50 in efficient field goal percentage, which is a really key stat. And the Grizzlies are 6th in the NBA, and both of those guys are a big reason for that.
Yeah, 100%.
I just love the energy that Luke brings to a Grizzlies game because if you've ever been to one, every time he hits a 3, everyone in the crowd goes, Luke! And it's just this fun. So like last night, we're hearing it time and time again, and it feels like it lifts everyone up, gets the crowd going, and that obviously impacts the players on the court, feeling like they've got the crowd support behind them. I think he's such a great asset to the Grizzlies, especially in this new offense that they're doing because they can just shoot it out to him quickly, and he's in space. His first half last night, he didn't shoot anything that wasn't a 3-point attempt. Like, he was just out there trying to shoot threes and obviously nailed 6 of them. So really great performance from him. The dunk, to me, I was watching it and he obviously, yes, he hanged on the rim for a little bit. He just looked so chuffed after. It was like
he points to the rim.
Yeah,
he points to the crowd or to the bench.
Like, yeah, I just did that. I had that, and I was sitting next to 2 of the beat writers for the Grizzlies, DeMichael Cole and Drew Hill, and I said, have you guys ever seen him dunk before? Because obviously they've covered the Grizzlies for years, and they were like, I don't think so. And then obviously the stats come out that it's 2019, 2020. So cool moment for him, and just goes to show that he was feeling it last night.
Yeah, if you look at how they get him going in those positions that he likes, especially at the top of the key, a lot of that is Ja or Dez doing what you call an AI cut. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean, Avery, where someone cuts from one top of the key to the other side, and it brings the defense with them. And what Kennard will do is he'll pop into space. They'll kind of lure the defense into this, kind of lull them to sleep, and then all of a sudden, we left Luke Kennard open. And it's that really quick movement, off-ball movement that the Grizzlies are doing that Luke Kennard, Jay Huff, Jalen Wells are benefiting from. Marcus Smart, when he's in, when he gets a lot of open threes. It's because the Grizzlies have so many players that can beat you, that can go for 35 a night if they wanted to, and Jaren Bain and Ja, that the defense has to key off of them. Defenses really can't key off of everybody if Luke Kennard's on the floor.
Somebody's going to hurt you on this team.
They space the floor really, really well, and if you watch those plays, a lot of those Luke Kennard threes, the spacing is perfect for a shooter like Luke Kennard.
Right, and he gets the ball, and he's becoming a lot like Desmond Bain. I think a couple of those threes, he gives you the pump fake, right? Yeah. Now you're flying by because he's such a lethal three-point shooter. You almost have to. You're trying to distract him any way you can, and all of a sudden you're flying by, and he's hitting a three. And listen, Desmond Bain is still the fly-by king on this team. I'm saying the 1-2s on this team in terms of like who does something the best, I think is really interesting. FedEx Forum getting a lot of work this week. They got 3 Grizzlies games between now and Sunday and 2 Tigers games. We got to talk about a special honor coming for one Desmond Bain, who we just talked about. Dez will have his jersey retired by his alma mater, TCU, the school announced. Bain was a 2-time All-Big 12 selection during his time in the purple and black from 2016 to 2020. He's the Horned Frogs' all-time leader in three-pointers, wins, and games played. He's also 3rd all-time in points. He becomes the 2nd player in program history to be drafted in the NBA's first round, of course, by the Grizzlies. Bain's number 1 goes into the rafters on February 18th at halftime of their game against Texas Tech, and he feels the honor.
Oh, it's going to be special. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be over All-Star break, so, I'll be able to be there and celebrate with my friends and family. It's forever. It's stamped. TCU was great to me, and I appreciate the love that they give me back.